when we started this Ron Paul meetup group on the internet, we had a small nucleus, maybe half a dozen people. Jeff and his wife and several others. Eric has come. There was talk there of creating a new grassroots organization in Lincoln County. A political active organization, something to promote the right ideas. In my mind, I can't see trying to organize and fund and promote and spend all the time starting a brand new organization when we already have one that we can take and give back to the people. And that's the local Republican Party. And that's why I ran as a precinct committeeman and I got elected. And several others. How many of the people on the Central Committee are new now that are Ron Paul supporters? There's a half a dozen of them, at least.
More than that.
More than that. But anyway, we have some power back here if we choose to exercise it. We can simply vote at these precinct, Central Committee meetings for the right issues. If we choose to add something to the local platform, we can do that now. We have the majority. Okay, so in my mind, then, we need to exercise that power. And how we exactly do that? Well, Bobbin's got a lot of experience. I'm learning real fast about how to work those meetings, trying to attend everyone. And we need citizen backup for what we propose at those meetings. And if we have that, we can go into a meeting and say, we've got 500 names on a petition that want us to add this and this and this to the Republican platform in Lincoln County. Here's an idea that I have. And I proposed this to the Central Committee. And you could have heard a pin drop in that room for 30 seconds after I said this. I said, I think we need a document that we challenge every candidate to sign before we'll support them in an elective race. And that document has to line out the principles of the Constitution. It's got to give us sound economic policy based on the rules that the Campaign for Liberty has put down, Ron Paul and his group. And that document has to be a unilateral contract between that candidate with his name on the document under notary and filed at the county courthouse. A unilateral contract with the citizens of Lincoln County to perform and do his utmost to put those practices and ideas into play. Now, anybody that refuses to sign such a document, it's binding that he make his best effort. It's not, obviously, we can't bind them to actually perform because one person couldn't do it all alone. But we can bind them to stand up and be counted for each of those issues. If they're not willing to sign such a document, we simply can't support them. We support somebody that is. Go ahead.
I'm Diane Ketchell from the West Kootenai, and my issue is one that's very frustrating. I'm sitting here representing 1,551 signatures that I collected as a result of the torture of that little dog, and I have nobody to talk to about it. Do you know how frustrating that is?
I do. I've been doing this for 35 years.
I have a sheriff
You know,
that
think
refuses
about
to
what
call me
Ron
back.
Paul went through in the U.S. Congress for 20 years. Nobody would back him.
38% of the people of the Eureka area signed that, and I think it was 23% of the citizens of Libby signed it. And nobody will hear me. I can't talk to it. Even the Attorney General's office can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
How amazing
Well, that's
is
your
that?
typical answer from government.
Last I heard on that issue, weren't they supposed to sign a special investigator for that? The reason I ask is because my wife and I, we got down there, we donated money to help somebody find out who did it.
Right.
Well, everybody knows pretty much who did it. Are they going to do anything about it? No. Will they ever do anything about it? Probably not. For your question, there's a lot of things like that goes on in this county that nobody cares about, or they just drop the issue.
Exactly.
Stick your head in the sand, it's going to go away.
Well, that's part of what this organization should be about, is
Accountability.
issues that bother the local, ordinary folks, Joe Blow on the street.
But we need someone
We need to be able to discuss it.
We need somebody that we can thump if it doesn't happen. I mean,
Obviously. So,
just need a name. I'm sure we can find a lot of thumpers.
Jerry?
Let me make a couple comments. You know, when you were talking about the Federal Reserve, if anybody recall their history, in the 1830s, Andrew Jackson beat back
A central bank.
the central bank
Yep.
idea.
He said,
Just because
I
of
will
that
route
reason,
you out.
Because the bankers would get control of everything. That was in the 1830s, Brian. Wait a minute.
Oh, sorry. That's right.
I got
filibuster.
I got 10 more things.
You want the mic, Jerry?
No.
Jerry, I want to wait until we're commissioners together.
Well, here's some, when he's talking about Austrian economics, this is a pillar of free economics. And if you would read a book called Road to Serfdom by Frederick Hayek, Hayek, he wrote this like 50 or 60 years ago. And he talks about all of these things happening. And if you violate basic economics, you're going to pay the piper eventually. And this is what we've been doing.
Now, they're just floating the bubble to make it last longer.
Instead of buying votes, we have to stick to the basic economics, that rule.
Another source for that information is Money Masters on YouTube. Outstanding.
Now, there's some outstanding videos.
Oh, it's a documentary 10, 15 years ago. So it's,
The Money Masters.
All I know is,
Another one is what is that? Aaron Russo's movie,
Freedom to fascism.
Freedom to Fascism.
But I would suggest
I'm
money
telling
is
you
debt
this.
as a good introductory to
I'm
the
telling you
banking
this
system.
because
It's
my
kind of
daughter
simple.
gave me another degree in economics.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. It was through her that I got a lot of this information, and it's really, really cool. Okay, then, you know, the basic principles we have to operate by, you know, we're talking about free markets, individual responsibility, respect for private property, and the other one is rule of law. And from one end of the county to the other, I hear this, these are, in the small towns, it's like the rule of law is breaking down, the procedure. It's like you know, whether you want to call it the good old boy network, or that ain't so bad, or this or that. It's like you have to follow a rule of law to have an ordered society so everybody can live secure. And this was the basics of.
Precisely. There's no real
So,
reason
The
why
rule of
any,
law is like breaking down here in rural America. And
there's no real reason why anybody in Lincoln County should have to fear for their safety,
no.
especially from any federal agent.
Yeah, I don't care from what political spectrum you're at. You should be able to live. This is our country, and we're supposed to allow all kinds of divergent views without retribution. You know, as long as they're done from the heart. Well,
Freedom is popular, regardless of your political affiliation. Ron Paul proved that. Freedom is popular. And as long as we realize that what freedom is all about is not necessarily to use that freedom as a cloak for malice, but to buy us the time to discuss each and every one of these issues and arrive at a solution, or maybe agree to disagree. But that's what freedom is for. It buys us a little